Hello everyone and welcome to this week's video. I'm going to be starting a new series called Real World Projects, where I basically take a real world project that I worked on or predominantly worked on, and I'm going to share the process and give you a better insight into some real world examples of actual scripts, extensions, plugins, and other cool products that I've worked on. This is sort of outside of the normal, just teaching you individual theory type things or individual features or more broad scripting extensions and plugins tutorials. This one I'm going to be going over sort of from start to finish how everything went, what it entails, what it is, and then kind of show you a bit about it. And so today I'm going to start off the series with Han Motion Type, a script which I wrote basically 90% of over the course of around 6 to 10 months. So before we get started, I do want to remind you down below, hit subscribe and the bell icon to be notified of new videos coming out twice weekly on the channel. And down in the description, you can check out a link to download the script and check it out yourself, as well as follow me on GitHub for coding updates, and in the description, follow me on Instagram for other live updates. If you're not already a member of the Discord server, you can come and join and get help with scripting, extensions, plugins, expressions, submit tutorial ideas, hang out with a lot of our cool and knowledgeable members, including some of our members and VIPs. And if you'd like to help support us on YouTube and get cool perks, you can check out the link in the description to become a member, supporter, premium supporter, or VIP. So first, let's take a look at what Han Motion Type is.
Audio Jungle.
So basically, Han Motion Type is the second or third script in a series of scripts that my friend Madly and I have created. We first met a long time ago through freelancer.com. It was one of the very few scripting projects I got from that website, but it branched me out into start getting more scripting jobs, meeting other people, and just making a lot more scripts, basically. We met on that website, and we originally made something called Motion Type. Now, Motion Type was super successful and is basically just a text animator. You select your text layer and you apply one of the 20 or several built-in presets, and it will automatically add a really cool animation based on whatever style you chose. And you have control over a lot of things like the character stagger and the layering and all that kind of stuff. So we created this script and had a lot of success. We created a second script, and we basically sold the rights to it because somebody wanted to outright buy it. So we did that. And finally, we decided, instead of just making standard animations, let's make one geared more towards basically Asian characters. You have Chinese, Japanese, and Korean characters that this is all specially made for. And it can also be used for Latin or Roman text, but the primary thing was that we wanted a quick and cool way to be able to animate these complex characters, some of which have holes, and we wanted to have different parts to be able to move around. So we primarily communicate on Skype, and we have had a long-term relationship, and we basically said, what's the next product we're going to make? And he had the idea to make this Han Motion Type, which supports these complicated Asian characters. Now, his job has always been the same, and so has mine, and that has been that Madly himself's job, because he owns this popular VideoHive page with many popular presets and things. He comes up with the idea. He does the promo and designs, including the preset designs that come built into it, and then I would do basically the main coding work, and that was pretty much it. So after we created the idea for this script, we basically had to decide what were the features going to be. Well, we need a bunch of presets. We have this here, ended up being 30. We need some kind of length adjustment so they can choose how long each animation is going to be, which is right here. And then we can have the text go from left to right, from center to out, or from right to left. And then we have the option to animate or break the characters or the strokes. Now, each one of these different things here as a character. If I go and grab a light shot here, this whole thing is a character. This whole thing is a character. This whole thing is a character. This is a character. This is a character. But we didn't want to just be able to break each one of these characters apart. Say you wanted to have a more complicated animation, we wanted to be able to break apart each individual stroke within this character. So everything that is its own thing that has to be drawn separately, like this element, each one of these three elements, etc. We needed that option as well. So that was the complicated part, is being able to figure out how we can take this text and then break it apart into these component parts. To give a little bit of insight, the basic way we did it was to use a convert text to shape layer, a built-in command to After Effects, and then a heavy amount of math, property and layer moving, and a whole bunch of other stuff to create the final split up text effect. And then the part after that, because we have the ability to just break the text, we also have the animate, which is when you both break the text and apply one of the 30 text presets that he created. Now, these presets had to be set up in a certain way so that I could easily include them in some kind of scripting algorithm to be able to apply a style that he creates to each one of these characters and create this overall effect. Now, the way this came to be was basically by using several copy and paste operations, a whole bunch of cleanup in the compositions, and basically just importing the style itself, or reusing it if it was previously imported, and then linking that up with the text layer based on some nulls and other things like that. Now, if I go to the GitHub page, the interface we started with and some of my notes are actually quite old. I never updated these. You can see there's just a temporary logo, giant style bar, but you can see all the basic functionalities there. The only difference here is a pre-compose button, but in the end, we decided that it would be easiest to have the script already do that for you or pre-compose in certain situations, because if you have a ton of different characters that are all, even if they're color-coded, they can be quite complicated. So we put in the option built in to pre-compose certain situations. But you can see everything's there. It's just not very nicely styled and polished up compared to the final result. And you can see here I have all the features I wrote out and in the past I had to do. Now, we actually started off with the idea of, instead of using like After Effects projects, we wanted to use some kind of custom script, which I was going to use to basically export the styles, all the effects, the layers and stuff from each of these styles into its own custom format. That was 7 months ago, and we didn't end up going with that. Now, I actually know the date this started. If I go back to my original commit on GitHub, which was on March 7th, 2021, now I actually know the exact date this was started because I wrote it at the top of the script when I started it. Han motion type, November 24th, 2020. So in reality, this is November 24th, and the script was released on July 15th. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months approximately. So it took about 8 months from start to completion, and that's actually really not bad for how complicated this ended up being. The total script itself is about 1,100 lines of code, which doesn't seem like that should take 8 months to create. But in reality, a lot of the nitty-gritty stuff in here is extremely complicated and is going down into shape layers and doing heavy modifications that took sometimes months to figure out. I would say probably the UI for this script, not just this one, but the finalized UI, this was all done in like a couple days. Then we sort of discussed how the presets are going to appear. They all needed to be in a somewhat similar format in order for them to work. So once he kind of figured that out, which was a nice amount of work off my back, I just had to figure out how to implement them into a script, which, since we were not using, as you can see, these export scripts or import scripts, we just had our own presets basically built in. And now that I'm looking at this page, it's quite simplistic, but it is straightforward. All you need to do is give it your text, and it will break it into its component parts however you choose and animate it according to how you select. So although from the outside this script looks extremely simplified and not that difficult to make, I would say several months of this were spent just working on the simplest of features, which we thought were simple, breaking up these Chinese characters and things like that, finding the holes, ordering the shape layer groupings in a specific way, and a whole bunch of other complicated things. And in fact, I think we changed workflows maybe 3 or 4 times on that. At a certain point, we kind of tried to do it by hand by using coordinates, widths, and heights to figure out what shapes need to go in what order, and then duplicating them and removing certain components to have individualized layers with the different parts or characters or shapes. It's quite complicated, but basically this whole script over 8 months, we changed the idea for how to implement the animation presets maybe 2 or 3 times. We changed the methods for how to split up and animate the text itself maybe 4 times. So that's really what took the longest time. And we did know there was some other scripts out there that deal with text, and we were comparing it to the older motion type scripts we had created and really making sure we focused on speed and simplicity. That's why we removed the pre-compose option from the interface, because we wanted things to be very simplistic and fast for the user and fast to apply as well. Now, for those of you who are wondering, how do I do payment in this kind of situation where I can visibly see the sales? Well, that's something we decide sort of upfront. We will say, usually give him slightly more than 50% at least, because he has the popular channel with all of these awesome sales, and I'm the one doing the coding. So I'm getting paid just basically for the coding work, and he's getting paid for doing the promo, the design, the idea, and having a popular VideoHive page. And for us personally, what we usually do, we do a percentage split. I don't remember exactly what the split is on this one, but we usually do anywhere from like 30-70 to 50-50. And then we basically, when he gets paid out from Envato or VideoHive, I get a split of that through PayPal, basically. It's not automatic. He sends it to me manually. Now, on other bases, we do individual payments for projects, but that's more for just like one-off scripts, because he's also like an After Effects teacher and sometimes needs some tools for his students. So that's pretty much an overview of Han Motion Type. I just wanted to start this cool series where I talk about real-world projects and discuss sort of, to some degree, the details of, how long it took to make, how complicated it is, how complicated it really was versus how it appears on the outside when you look at a simplified page like this, payment details, and any other cool anecdotes that might be able to help you when you're working on real projects instead of just learning individual things for programming. And hopefully in the future I'll be able to do a lot more of these. There are some projects I obviously can't talk about because of non-disclosure agreements and things like that, but I'm always asking clients if it's okay to use their projects, because it is, one, a good way to get the word out of your product, and two, it's really good for you guys to see how real-world projects can and do go, and also some of the ideas about what you can do for a real-world project instead of some of the more cookie-cutter type extensions and things that are already out there. But if you guys enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up button, down below hit subscribe and the bell icon to be notified of new videos coming out twice weekly in the channel, and down in the description you can check out the link to check out this script. You can even download it and buy it for yourself. You can also follow me down below in GitHub for coding updates and on Instagram for other live updates. If you haven't joined our Discord server yet, make sure you come and join and get help with scripting, extensions, plugins, expressions, submit tutorial ideas, hang out with a lot of our awesome members, some of who pay through YouTube, and some of who have just risen up through the ranks by answering lots of questions, which they can help you with. And if you would like to join in with some of these members, you can become a member, supporter, premium supporter, or VIP. Link for that is in the description. That helps you out. This helps us out financially, as well as gives you some cool perks like channel badges, Discord status, and much more. Thanks again for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.